Karen snatched a vet's ball cap her own son moved out after learning the truth. What would you do if you saw someone rip a veteran's pride from their head in broad daylight? In a quiet park on a crisp autumn afternoon, Karen Miller, a woman known for her sharp tongue, did just that. Her target was Tom, a 68-year-old Vietnam vet, sitting on a bench, his faded ball cap embroidered with U.S. Army, perched proudly on his head. Without warning, Karen stormed over, her face twisted with rage. "You don't deserve to wear that," she screamed, snatching the cap and waving it like a flag of her own righteousness. The park fell silent, save for the gasps of onlookers. Tom, stunned, reached for his cap, but Karen hurled it to the ground, stomping it into the dirt. Her son, Jake, 19, watched from a distance, his stomach churning. This wasn't the first time his mother's outbursts had drawn eyes, but this felt different, darker. Karen's fury wasn't random. She'd overheard Tom talking about his service at a local coffee shop days earlier, his voice steady but heavy with memories. Something in his story, perhaps the way he spoke of sacrifice, grated on her. Karen, who'd built a reputation for challenging anyone she deemed unworthy, decided Tom was a fraud. She'd seen videos online of stolen valor, and in her mind, Tom's quiet demeanor didn't match the hero archetype she'd constructed. Armed with nothing but her assumptions, she confronted him in the park, determined to expose him. "You're no veteran," she spat, ignoring his calm protests. "Prove it." Tom, a man who'd carried shrapnel in his leg for decades, didn't know her proof. But Karen didn't care. She thrived on the spectacle, her voice rising as phones began recording. As the crowd grew, a woman named Sarah, a park regular, stepped forward. Sarah wasn't loud or confrontational, but her presence cut through the chaos. She'd known Tom for years, often sharing coffee with him on that same bench. "Karen, you're wrong," she said, her voice firm. "Tom's DD-214 is framed in his living room. I've seen it." The crowd murmured, and Karen's confidence faltered, but only for a moment. She doubled down, accusing Sarah of lying to protect a fake vet. That's when Jake, Karen's son, approached, his face pale. He'd been scrolling through his phone, desperate to understand the truth. A quick search led him to a local news article from 2015, honoring Tom's service and his work with homeless veterans. Jake held up his phone, his voice trembling. "Mom, stop. He's real. You're wrong." The air grew heavier as Karen's defiance crumbled. She turned to Jake, expecting loyalty, but his eyes held something new: disgust. The twist came not from the crowd, but from a stranger who'd been filming silently. A young veteran named Marcus, who'd served in Afghanistan. Marcus stepped into the circle, his voice low but piercing. "That cap you stomped? It's not just cloth. It's blood, sweat, and brothers I'll never see again." He pulled a similar cap from his backpack, identical to Tom's, and placed it gently on the vet's head. The crowd erupted in applause, but Karen shrank back, her bravado gone. Marcus's words weren't just a rebuke. They were a mirror, forcing her to see the wreckage of her actions. The confrontation reached its peak as Jake took a step toward his mother. "I can't do this anymore," he said, his voice breaking. He wasn't just talking about the park. For years, he'd endured Karen's tirades at waiters, neighbors, even his teachers. Each outburst chipped away at his respect for her. But this was the final blow. "You hurt people, Mom. You don't even see it." Karen's face contorted, not with anger but with panic. She reached for him, but Jake turned away, walking toward Tom. In a quiet gesture, he helped the vet to his feet, offering an apology Karen couldn't muster. The crowd parted as Jake and Tom walked off, leaving Karen alone, the trampled cap at her feet. Karen's downfall didn't end in the park. By evening, videos of her outburst flooded social media, tagged with Karen vs. Vet. The comments were brutal, dissecting her every word. At home, she tried to justify herself, but Jake was already packing. "I'm staying with Dad," he said, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Karen begged him to stay, her voice cracking, but the door closed behind him. The next day, she found a note taped to her mailbox. A photocopy of Tom's D214, courtesy of an anonymous neighbor. The truth she'd denied was now undeniable, and it burned. Her coworkers stopped calling, her book club forgot to invite her, and the Percare daily haunt felt like a courtroom. Karen's world, built on self-righteous fury, had collapsed under its own weight. Tom, meanwhile, found unexpected allies. Marcus, the young vet, started a fundraiser to replace Tom's cap and support his veteran outreach. The campaign raised thousands, and Tom used it to host a barbecue for local vets, where Jake volunteered. Sarah, the quiet park regular, brought homemade pies, and the event became a symbol of community healing. Tom didn't speak of Karen. He didn't need to. His life, marked by service and resilience, spoke louder than her screams ever could. Jake, now living with his father, began visiting Tom weekly, finding in him the kind of strength his mother lacked. The park bench, once a stage for Karen's rage, now held a new sign: honor those who serve. In the end, Karen's story isn't just about one outburst, it's about what happens when pride blinds us to truth. She lost more than a cap that day. She lost her son's trust and her place in the community. Yet even in her fall, there's a flicker of hope. The chance to change, though it's a path she's yet to take. Tom's quiet dignity, Jake's courage, and Marcus's unexpected voice remind us that truth can mend what anger tears apart. What do you think? Where does the line fall between standing up and tearing down? Share your thoughts below.